Now, this is a trip I've been looking forward to all year long. We're up at beautiful Lake of the Woods in northern Minnesota, and we're fishing out of Adrian's Resort. Now, the reason I picked Adrian's Resort is they're typically the first ones in this early ice conditions, mid-December, to have roads out here, and they got really, really good bait. So I'm up here with Pete Maina and Jim Hudson, and we're gonna get out here and fish the basin of Lake of the Woods here where the Rainy River dumps in. So we're gonna try and figure out what depths they're in. We're probably gonna use some jigging techniques. The weather's kind of nasty right now, but it's supposed to get better. We're gonna do everything we can do to help you get the next bite. Let's roll, boys!
I'm just looking for the next bite, next bite, next bite, next bite. I'm just looking for the next bite. Yes, we
Lake of the Woods is widely known for the high numbers and of its spectacular year-round fishing.
Plenty of these to keep you busy during the day.
But there can be no doubt that there are trophy-class walleye here to be had as well.
Nicely done.
So, ideally, combining both numbers and size is perfect not only for a great fish fry.
Looks like a really nice walleye. Another good eater there, Keith.
Got one there too, man.
Put them in the bucket. Have a walleye dinner tonight.
Oh, yeah.
But also catch and release.
There's one. There he came up. A lot of times if you can get them coming up, they're going to be feeding. I just put on it's called a stop sign. Pink one, but I put it under my little light here and really got it glowing. It almost glows red, it looks like to me, but he's big enough. I can get this transducer out of the way quick. Shouldn't be too much further down there. There's my swivel. Oh yeah, there he is. Come on. Nice fish. This would be one of the Lake of the Woods overs here. I believe it's 19 or maybe 19 and a half. This one is well over that. Either way. But I had this spoon on and I just got it bright glowing. I put it under the fluorescent light and it was just glowing real bright. So that's what did her. Decent fish there. Fought hard too and hit hard. How are you feeling about life? There you go.
What is special in Keith, Pete, and Jim's approach is not only their various presentations as they narrow down clues towards a possible pattern.
Nice Lake of the Woods walleye. Use that dead presentation to, when they come into your jig, they'll then, if they don't take the jig, they'll come over and go to that dead rod.
But the area that they have pre-chosen to target for this mid-December walleye bite.
All right, here we go. Sauger here. This is an eater-sized sauger, and there's lots of these up here at Lake of the Woods, but there's also a lot of really big fish. And the reason there's so many big fish and fish in general is that we've got a real classic situation here where the fish are congregated outside of the Rainy River. This happens on a lot of big bodies of water where you got the river flowing into a basin area. So what we've got is schools of fish just kind of milling around out here. Now, if you come up to Lake of the Woods and you're wondering how do you find these fish, one thing you can obviously do is check in with the resorts like Adrian's, for instance, has a lot of shacks that they put out on the water for you and try and keep you on the fish. And you could certainly get in one of those huts and be catching fish, but don't be afraid to be a little bit mobile. Bring your sled out here, bring your shacks out here, and what's happening is that we'll get out to a spot, and right away it doesn't seem like it's very good, but after we start working our baits a little bit, a bunch of us start moving around spoons and stuff, it seems to like call in these fish. So remember that these fish are just milling around out here. Move around a little bit, watch your depth finder, watch for those fish to come in, and you'll find these basin fish out here on Lake of the Woods. Good fish, Jim. He came in, I thought he was coming after my dead stick, but he kept going right through that mark. And
yeah, it's funny how they do that sometimes. They'll go up and down after each lure.
You see him down there yet?
Oh, yeah,
there he is. Nice fish.
Yeah.
Good fish.
Get him up here for you.
I thought he was going to be a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Here's why. He bit like a big fish. Just inhaled that spoon.
He stopped for the stop sign.
That's the cool thing about these electronics. Sometimes you can actually, I thought it was going for this other rod, but I just kind of kept working this one above this one's mark.
Yeah.
And boom, he hit it hard. I mean, so it was obvious he wasn't looking at my dead stick. He was looking at this all along.
The next bite is presented by Mercury. Amsoil, the first in synthetics. Tracker Boats, fish the finest. Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. Berkeley, catch more fish.
Lake of the Woods is considered the walleye capital of the world. Good reason. Lots of walleyes out here and saugers mixed in too. You still got to pay attention to the details of the fishing day to be very successful. Typically gold lures really work the best up here on Lake of the Woods, kind of like this gold buckshot or this Lindy flyer. On bright, sunny days, that's what was really working for us, those gold lures. But then all of a sudden we switched. We had some clouds move in. It started to snow. We stuck with the gold theme, but what we did is we added some pink onto our lures as well, like the stop sign. Have a pink front on it, and it has a gold back as well. Actually, it glows as well. And also on our dead rod, we put on a pink and white knuckleball. But another detail that we really found is how we hooked our minnows. What I like to do is I carry these little clam cups and take minnows with me. They're really easy to transport that way. But what we would do is take a minnow like this, and on our spoon, we would hook the minnow, head through the treble hook like that, and we'd pinch it off. Let that scent move through the water as we pinched off the body of the minnow. And for the jig, what we would do is we'd actually take 2 minnows. Now you'd want to use live minnows, but what I'm doing here is just to show you what's going on. And what we would do is we'd take that, put them right through the lips like that. Then I'd take usually a bigger fat head, hook another one just like that. Then we'd have 2 minnows, give it a bigger profile, and then that white and pink and sometimes glow lure would shine down there on those dark and cloudy days and give us a lot more success. So pay attention to those details, and you're going to catch a lot more walleyes that Lake of the Woods is world renowned for.
Good fish. Good fish, guys.
Good one.
Yeah, good one. Yeah, very nice one. There he is. Oh yeah, he's a nice fish. Get him. I got him. Yeah, look at there.
Grab him.
Look at there.
If you can get him.
The Lake of the Woods nice guy here. Look at that.
Nice fish.
Pop that knuckleball, gold knuckleball. Everybody said when we came up here, gold's
Gold's the way to go.
Oh, he's a pretty fish. Look at there.
Yes, he is.
Could use a little more meat for the winter, though. He's trying to get them frozen shiners I was using on there.
Well, you shouldn't be putting fake food down there. We get him back down there so he can fatten up a little bit.
It's getting plenty cold, isn't it? My hands could get them back down there, too. I think it's 19.5-inch slot limit here.
Yeah. Definitely bigger than
19 there it goes. And we can just wave goodbye.
Yep.
There we go.
Bye.
The Real Deal. Real fishing information from real fishing experts. Presented by Amsoil.
I'd like to take a minute to tell you about some improvements on old standby lines that I use day in, day out on the tournament trail. One is Trilene XT. It's my go-to trolling line with monofilament. It's the toughest stuff around, got good diameter, allows my crankbaits to dive deeper. And throughout the course of the lifetime of this line, there's been a lot of improvements. But quite frankly, this time it's a monster improvement. We're looking at Trilene XT being up to 20% stronger than what it was before. 6% better abrasion resistance. Now, this is a line that I use around zebra mussels all the time when I'm trolling spinners and crankbaits. It takes a beating, but now it's even stronger yet. Another line that I like to use is Trilene XL. I use XL for when I'm rig fishing, slip sinkers fishing. It's a good, strong line. It's got some stretch to it, which is fantastic for forgiveness and fighting big fish. But this line also has a major improvement in strength. It's really a lot stronger than what it was. Plus, the line itself is a much more flexible line. So it's increased in its flexibility and limpness, which means it's going to cast better. It's going to be more manageable on your spinning reels. So we're talking about Berkley's two main lines, the ones that are actually very good, cost-effective lines with market improvements to make your fishing a lot better.
The right equipment is extremely important. When it comes to jigging for ice fishing, it's no exception. For walleyes, what I like to use is kind of a medium action rod. This is a new walleye weapon. The Next Bite rods are produced by Clam, and they can be found at Bass Pro Shops. That's a very sensitive rod. And then the line system is extremely important. What I've got here is I've got 12-pound test Nanofill. Gives me no stretch, so I've got tremendous feel working that line through this whole rod. This blank goes all the way through the rod, so I've got tremendous feel with this line. The other thing I like about the line is it carries very little water. Now when I'm in a tent like this, it doesn't make as much difference, but when I'm out roaming around looking for fish and the elements and that water wants to freeze on the line right away, I don't get as much of that. The other nice thing with this Nanofill is that when you do get a little ice on there, it just wipes off very easily. You just grab onto the line and that ice slides right off and breaks away. And then we go down to a barrel swivel here in the system, and then about 3 feet generally of fluorocarbon. I use 100% fluorocarbon. I start out with 3.5 to 4 feet, and then I'll gradually cut it on down as I need to. Maybe it's getting nicked up or whatever, but I like to have at least 2.5 feet of the fluorocarbon. What that does is it gives me low visibility. The properties of fluorocarbon, they aren't going to be able to see that line. It also gives me a little bit of a bungee effect for setting the hook and actually working these baits better. I think the combination of that no stretch line and that little bit of rubber band action, especially with some of these vertical jigging baits, you get a little bit better action. So for me, this is the perfect system for ice jigging.
In addition to using shiners, spoons, and dead sticks with jigs to catch these Lake of the Woods walleyes, adding tip-ups into the mix
Yeah, this one was just suspended a little bit.
can not only be a fun way to easily catch more fish, but they can offer up some good intel on the bite as well, posing as a sixth man.
If it's actually a fish, it's like the smallest fish on earth. Look at that.
Even if they aren't always monsters.
Did you notice how I set the hook on that fish? You really gotta give it to him.
The information or addition to your nightly fish fry, at least, is certainly something that can be appreciated for essentially very little effort overall. Well, usually.
Jim, where are you, man?
Do you need the gas?
Jim! No, what I need you to do is reset this tip up.
No, get out of here.
Does this mean you're not gonna? Yeah, you can't get good help anymore.
Cool. This is that very high one, Jim. We remove the cheese here.
Yeah, 10 feet from the bottom of the ice, you said it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, initially I set it 10 feet off the bottom, and then I saw a real high mark come through about 10, 12 feet down. He's still there.
He's going away from there. There he is.
Got him.
Yeah, make sure that line's going away.
It's interesting. I mean, almost 30 feet of water, and we're talking only a third of the way down. There's our marker there.
Oh, yeah, here he comes.
All right.
Nice Lake of the Woods walleye on tip-ups. That's one thing you don't see a lot up here, Pete, is people using tip-ups. They always got a dead rod next to them, but not a lot of people use tip-ups, and you know, going up and down on the water column like that, that's a good thing to use your tip-ups for.
Yeah, one that spreads you out a little bit too. That's the thing, you know. Your dead rod you got to keep right next to you, and these you can spread out a little bit.
Yep.
One of the things that really makes ice fishing a lot more fun is to get a good fish finder. It just draws a picture of what's happening down there, and it really lets you adjust to things as they're occurring as the fish come in and look at your lures. So let me show you what I'm looking at on my screen down here so you can get an idea of how to set up your fish finder. So the first thing you'll notice is that I have my unit in split screen here. On this side we have the full water column, 0 down to 30. We're in 28 feet of water. On this side I've went to 4 times zoom so I'm only seeing the very bottom, because most of the fish that are coming in, you know, I'm working towards the bottom here, so that's where I want most of my detail. The reason I still want this side though is because we have had a few fish come in high. You'll see them actually cruising across. So let's look at what I've got on this screen. Here's the bottom down here, this dark line. You'll notice that there's a line running right here just above the bottom. That actually is my dead rod. So that's the jig that I've got down there with a couple lively fatheads on it. I've got it set about a foot above the bottom. Now the other rod, what I like to do with that is I actually let that sit on the bottom a little while, and it seems like a real good action here is just pulling that up, kind of ripping it up, and then I start to jiggle, and I run that just above the height of my dead rod down there, and I'm really using this as an attractant. And it seems like for this trip, after you jiggle a little bit, if you just drop it down to the bottom and then let it sit on the bottom, and I'm talking about 5, even 10 seconds, it seems like it gets those fish interested. And I'm going to rip it up again and start to jiggle. Now, the next thing that hopefully happens is a fish comes in. And what that will look like most of the time is a dark mark coming up off the bottom, moving up towards that dead rod line. And in that case, what I've got to do is determine which rod is actually getting that fish interested. So as that dark mark starts to come in, the first thing I want to do is grab my dead rod, jiggle it and work it a little bit, see if that fish is going to go after that. But at the same time, I'll raise up my jig rod, my spoon rod just a little bit, and really jiggle that a little bit harder. Then if that mark continues on past my dead rod and up to this, I know which one it's actually looking at. So when you got this unit set up right, you can not only see your lures down there, but see the fish come in, see how they react to those lures, and really make yourself a better ice fisherman by watching that screen.
Leading information on tackle and techniques to make you a better fisherman. Presented by Mercury.
You know, a lot of you might have seen a little commercial Chase Parsons and I did comparing Verados and Optimaxes, and I just want to go into a little bit more detail on why you might pick one engine over the other. First of all, you have to look at the boat that you're running. For example, my tournament rig can take a big horsepower engine. Actually, it's unlimited. In that case, a lot of times with those real high-end boats, you can choose either Verado or Optimax Pro XS, because in both cases, you can get enough horsepower to really make those boats perform. You got to look at things with the Verado like the total driving package, the nice power steering, the quietness for those big boats. But there are some boats like the smaller fishing ski that I'm running today where the choice of your engine can make a big difference on the performance of the boat. For example, I've run this boat with both a Verado and an Optimax, a Pro XS on it, and I found that because the Pro XS is lighter weight, this boat does a lot better. It gives better top end speed, it does better running out in the rough water, gives it better acceleration, and I think a lot of that is the less weight. It just allows the boat to get more lift. Now when people think of lift in a boat, many times they think it's the bow lift that's making a big difference, and that can make a difference. What's probably more important is making sure that the back end of your boat is also lifting, getting up on top of that water. So in that case, that lighter weight Pro XS Optimax is going to be a better choice. So how do you know which one to choose? You know, rely on things like your dealer. Go into your dealer and ask them which one is running better. Go to places like the Next Bite Forum and ask questions. You know, who runs an Optimax? Who runs a Verado? Which one is better on this style of boat? And that's going to give you some real good options. So picking the right engine can make a big difference on how well your boat performs. Make the right choice, and let's get out there and go fishing.
By using a combination of jigging presentations and their real-time LCD electronics properly calibrated for their setup, Keith, Pete, and Jim
Got him.
have seen action on both their spoons, dead sticks,
I'm jigging like that, and then all of a sudden I see him on that Lowrance, come shooting up, and then boom, he goes right back down to my other minnow rod, and he just hammered it.
and even the alternating tip-up that they are using to help scout the water column for additional bites. Having seen a few better marks and having had some bites higher up, depth-wise, Pete decides to take what has been working and go a bit further, testing his instincts against the pattern.
Get over here, Kavajecz. This is one of the neatest things I've ever seen, dude.
While hopefully giving himself a better shot at a bigger walleye.
I saw this fish come in about 12 feet down, and I literally brought him all the way up to almost underneath the hole. Before he bit. I'll tell you what, I've never brought a fish up that high.
Here's your leader.
There we go.
He is.
There he is. Ooh, that's a nice one.
That's a good one. Oh, look at here. He T-boned this.
Yeah, he did.
What the heck
He
is
really
that?
grabbed that thing.
What are you using here?
That's a stick shad. It's kind of a different lure. I figured I'd go a little bit bigger and work it up high, because some of these bigger fish have been up high. And
Yeah?
I was jigging at about 10, 12 feet, and the big red mark appeared.
Looks like a good move. A lot of times when they chase that high, I mean, it's just like in the summer. I mean, the higher they are, the harder they bite, and
Yeah.
the hungrier they are. Nice fish there, Peter.
It was a great hit. I'm telling you, I'm like, did I hit the bottom of the ice, or did I hit the fish?
It was a fish.
It was a fish.
I can tell you that.
You know, a lot of You ready again, Greg?
Oh yeah, poor man lobster right there. Fun fish to fight. One thing that you'll see when you catch them a lot of times, people catch them at dark and they raise them up and their tail will curl right around your arm. People get freaked out about that, but good eating fish.
I'll get it, guys. Don't worry.
Now, there's one for Facebook. Look at that. I'll let him have his meal. Trophy, yes.
Family owned and operated, Adrian's Resort has been serving fishermen and their families since 1952. For Lake of the Woods fishing reports and even custom fishing services for this walleye fisherman's paradise, visit adriansresort.net.